Hi everyone, it's Emilia here. Welcome to my new video. Today I want to create with you a mini album. Album inspired by the camera shape. This is MDF shape from Stamperia Dewdrop collection by Vicky Papayonau. And I started with this MDF camera as my first element and thought this would be a great album cover, and then created the mini album matching that cover. I mean, everything what I did after that, it was to go with the shape. So today in this tutorial I will show you some parts of the album I created. Not everything was recorded, maybe 3-4 pages out of 8 I did here. 2 pages are just plain. Some pages have pockets, the other have flaps, so we will go through some of these. I also decorated the back cover with the fabric and then rub-ons, and basically we will go through all the parts of creating that mini album. So I started this album a while ago. I only covered the front cover with the paper and I inked the edges, and then I kind of stopped. I'm sure you know how it is, starting something and then just leaving it for a few weeks. But I still have quite many elements from that collection, and I thought I really want to create that mini album, so today is the video. I started with measuring the cover to roughly know what size of the pages I will have. I will provide the measurements for you, but please note that while I was doing this album I was figuring everything out as I was going, so I didn't plan it too much, not for mini album, and I also wanted to do it this way and give you some suggestions when you will be creating something like that, maybe with a different shape, how to actually find the measurements for your things. So I measured the front cover and I knew that I wanted it to be that I wanted the pages to be slightly smaller in height and not as wide as the cover, because we have to add the hinge system to it. So this is the hinge which is called stacked deck, I think. I'm not really sure, but I have took a piece of paper and I scored it every 1/4 of an inch, and in the middle we will add additional paper where we have 2 more pages will be attached to that. So this system has like 1/4 of an inch for a gap and 1/4 of an inch for attaching the page, and 1/4 of an inch for like between the gap and between the page additional space, so later we can put our pages quite flat. I will try to find what is it called, but I've seen someone doing that and I'm basically doing the same. I will put the measurements for you on the screen so you will know. But honestly, when you will be doing the album, you can change the gaps between the pages and also, of course, the height of your hidden hinge system or whatever you call it. I also want to mention here that I had to make it shorter later because I decided to make the corners of my pages round, so I will use a corner chomper for that, and then I found out that the my hidden hinge system is too tall basically, because it can start when the corner is like the round of the corner is ending. In my opinion, it should start there, but at the moment is the full height of the page. So yeah, that was the first thing that I had to figure out. And you will see me now chopping the corners, and then I will make the hidden hinge system shorter. I'm not even sure if this is the correct name for it, but anyone who is making albums at all will know what I'm talking about. As I only had the front cover, I had to trace this shape into the chipboard piece to create a back cover. And actually for the back cover I used two chipboard pieces stuck together because that MDF piece is quite thick. Always when you trace the shape and cut it with the scissors, it will be slightly bigger than your element. So now I'm chopping some parts off with the knife, just going very near the top cover to make this bottom shape very close in shape to my front cover. Once this is done, I'm gluing two covers together, two shapes together to have one back cover, and just to be sure that it will glue properly, I'm attaching some of the clips and leave it to dry. In the meantime, I'm going to create the cover for the spine. So I have a piece of chipboard slightly wider than my hidden hinge system, and then I will cover it with the craft paper. This is very small spine. You could cover it with the fabric or scrapbooking paper. When you're doing this part, you just need to remember that your actual spine needs to be wider than your hidden hinge system. I will also cover it from the inside as I don't want to any white spaces, and then I will stack my hinge system into this, trying to keep it in the middle and make even gaps from the edges on one and on the other side. For the back cover, I'm going to use a piece of fabric. This is an old shirt, which I'm recycling at the moment. It has quite thin fabric, but very pretty color, and I thought it would work really nice here. So I'm trimming it first roughly to the size that is a little bit larger than my shape, and I will start adhering, but you will see I will have to cut it a lot in many places to to make these corners round, to go around that top part of the camera. So I didn't speed it up for you to see what I had to cut off later. And also I wanted to tell you that I didn't apply any glue at the front of the camera because I wasn't sure if this won't be seen through that fabric. So I thought I'm only attaching the fabric on the back of the camera, and then this will be later covered with paper. So especially in the corners I had to focus and do it like really slowly. You can use the bone folder to help you to flatten the fabric, and then cut anything that you think it's too much, because actually you don't need any like bulky spaces here. Later you will of course cover it with the paper, but you know, if it's too much fabric in one place, it may create some bumps and it may be visible through the paper. Feel free to forward that to the next stage if you want. I just decided to leave it in the video because some of the people may wonder how these covers are created with the fabric, you know, and actually how the fabric is attached to the shape, especially when it's not an obvious shape. So yeah, I hope it won't be too painful for you to watch me doing that. I did struggle in some places, but actually it all turned out really well. Now it's the time of attaching the spine to the cover, and I marked roughly where I want my spine to be in the middle of that cover, and also I used a page to help me find where the page should be positioned, because the page is only slightly shorter than the cover and I wanted to be in the middle of that shape. So I started with the back, and then I will adhere the front as well, and for the front I will use the grid mat to help me keep everything in line. If you've got any other techniques, you know, of doing that, feel free, of course, and maybe you can suggest something. I was just doing what I think it will work the best. I also want to mention that would be nice to have actually pages slightly shorter, not in height, in the width. My pages are just reaching almost the edge of the cover, and the next time if I will be doing it, I will make them slightly shorter. So I will provide the measurements for the better size for the page, in my opinion. Now I cut out some paper to go on the back of both covers, so you need to trace both shapes, and before adhering the paper covering the covers I'm attaching the ribbon roughly in the middle of each piece. This will keep everything together later. The pattern paper for the pages is slightly smaller than the pages, and I also rounded all the corners, and now I will cut out some of the elements from the collection, anything that I think I can use on my pages. These smaller and bigger labels, there will be some frames, little tickets, coffee mug. I also will cut out some of the elements from washi pad. You can at this point gather everything that you think you could use in your album, pieces of lace, some metal embellishments, chipboard embellishments. My album will be quite simple. I don't want to over embellish it, and also remember that you can only add as many embellishments as your gaps between the pages will hold. One of my pages will have this cute frame. I will ink the frame and the elements which I'm going to use on that page. I will do it a lot of off the camera for other elements, so everything is like matching each other. And here I will have this frame. There is no flaps, no pockets, anything, just that frame and decorations around it. So I'm attaching that frame using a piece of chipboard because I want it to be higher so I can put some elements underneath and around it. I have these tickets and other little pieces. Very often I will cut them in half so I can use them in more than one place, and because we see only some part of it, we don't need the whole pieces. I've got this film strip here as well. I'm adding piece of chipboard to that element, and this will be attached only of the frame on the page, and on the frame it's loose, so if anyone would like to add a photo, it can go underneath that film strip. I've got the butterfly and other little pieces to go on the other side as well. Now I've got this washi sticker, washi tape, paper sticker, and what is great about these stickers that they can be repositioned. You can take it off and apply again, and the other part of that ticket will go on the other side. And then I will also add the butterfly, and later you will see me in the later part that I will be adding some stamps. It will be when I will be finishing all the pages off. I will leave this page at the point when I think that all the papers are where they should be, but stamping will come later, and I will do them for all the pages at once. The next page will have a little flap. The flap is the same height as my page, and I create double scoring on the side, because if later we will add some photos or I don't know, journaling cards, something underneath that page, I want to be sure that underneath that flap that it has some room. I'm rounding the corners here. My chomper is on his last legs, I think. It's not cutting properly anymore, but I still want to use it. And then I will cut off with the scissors the parts which I don't need, as this part will go underneath my page. So you actually need as minimum of the paper as possible. I will adhere that to the page, and then on top of that I'm going to adhere some decorative papers and the frame, and this flap will be attached, held close to the page with the piece of string and one small brad. So I'm attaching the string first at the back of the page on the bottom side of it, and this will go to the front, and then on the flap I'm going to attach a little brad. But I'm not attaching the brad to the page, I'm attaching it to the paper which will be on top of the flap. I hope this makes sense. So I will stick those two pieces together, the frame and the paper, pattern paper for the flap, and now I will mark where my brad should be. Important thing here is that the brad shouldn't go through the paper completely. You need to leave it sticking out because you want the string on top to go around it, so it needs some room. And I find the bone folder always helping to do it. So you put the bone folder underneath your brad, and then you're sure that there is enough space for the string to go there. The next page will have some belly band in the middle, not in the middle actually, on one side of the page, and I will create some small labels to go underneath. I've got one ticket which I previously attached to the piece of paper, and I will also create one frame to go there. So I'm starting with the craft paper, and then I will adhere pattern paper on top, and like I said, this little frame. So for the I'm going to attach the frame to the craft paper, but I first want to add some stamping on the bottom side of it. I will only be adding stamping on the sides of that little label, so later it can be used for a photo or for journaling. And actually I will be using those two stamps later as well to add some touches here and there, and to add that to the other labels as well, which I will create as my last part of the video. For this page here, I'm creating a little vellum pocket. No measurements was taken by me here, so I just took a piece, scored on one side, then I use my page as a guide of for scoring with the other on the other places. So this is not too high. I will decorate this vellum pocket with some elements, and I will create some little label to go inside. You can put some photographs, some tags. It's a nice element to have in the album. So only the one thing I can suggest here is that when you are doing anything with the like the pocket, which will go in the corners of your page, you will have to think about that you will have to round these corners, because it would look really strange to have rounded corners on the top and not on the bottom. So vellum is quite thin. I didn't have a problem with that, but if this would be a lace, you know, it will be a different story. So yeah, so I used the chomper to round the corners, and now I'm just creating a little label, you could say. I will ink that, and I added the stamping on the front, and I will add the stamping on the bottom side. I've done now all my pages, so I'm going to adhere the pages, the bases of the pages to the album. You could first adhere your pages to your pages and then adhere it to the album. I decided to do it this way. So I'm adhering it on the bottom side as well, but I will leave the top open, as later I'm going to add more cards, more labels on the top. So to be sure that everything is positioned nicely and in like line, I will use that first page as a guide for adhering the other pages. This is quite a slow process. You need to, you know, be careful here, check everything. I like to use the glue because then I can reposition the page if I need. But if you feel confident, you can use double-sided tape here. I just prefer glue. And then I will start adhering pages to the album. Like I said, I wanted to create some mats to go on the between the pages. Between the pages. So I created them smaller than the pages, and I will use this tab punch. This is from Craftelier. It will be linked in the description below the video. It's a great punch to create some tabs to that they can go on anything, cards, scrapbooks, albums, whatever. But I just love this because these are super easy to use, and I have inked my labels and also my mats and added some stamping. So this is how they go between the pages, and now I will finish off the album by decorating front and back cover. This is very simple. I've got one frame, you could say, to go on each cover, and some little pieces that I still have left from the collection. Super easy, very similar to what I did on the other pages. And this will be it. I will add some stamping here and there. Like I said, I will show you in some places. This will be finishing the whole album, and I didn't record embellishing the back cover, but I just added rub-ons and some little sentiment which says think big, and this will be it. So I hope with this video that I can inspire you to create mini albums or big albums, that maybe you will find some nice ways of creating the compositions, how you can decorate the album. You know, there are many possibilities. I love mini albums, but I also, if you want, can record some longer videos for you. Please let me know in the comment, because I'm not sure if anyone has time to watch these long videos. And if you really would love like step-by-step process of creating an album, because I think for a video like that I would probably have to create it in stages, in parts, because that would take a lot of time. I completely forgot that I still have a front cover to finish. So I'm attaching that ring to a piece of paper, and then I will create some embellishments around it, like I did with everything in that video. Rub-ons on to go on the top of the ring. I added some stamping already, and then these little tickets, pieces of lace, and very small flowers on the front cover. So here it is, the finished project. I also decorated the spine with few beads. Please let me know what do you think. If you find this video interesting and if you want more tutorials like this one. If not, please suggest what you would like me to record for you. I love this creation. It looks absolutely gorgeous. One thing that I could change, like I said before, it would be the width of the pages. They could be slightly smaller, but it's not too bad. The whole collection is beautiful, so I'm glad I finally created that project. It will go to a nice person, not saying to who, here in case they watching, and I hope you will like this tutorial. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for commenting underneath my videos, for all love and appreciation. Have a lovely creative day. Take care everyone. Bye bye.